Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 2021 will mark an important anniversary, 50 years of Bangladesh. For those of us who were born and around at that time, and for those who are not, for India, it was a significant turning point when the Indian Armed Forces defeated Pakistan in the 1971 war and liberated East Pakistan that led to the birth of Bangladesh. Since then, Bangladesh has a history of ups and downs in its growth and in its relations with India. Currently, we are witnessing a high in our relations between India and Bangladesh, and that is good. There is also a huge potential for linking not just West Bengal, but the northeastern states to what we can call the new East India hub that could ensure mutual growth for both Bangladesh and India and the region. But today, we will look at a completely different aspect. We will, in some senses, go down memory lane. We would look at the momentous occasion of the formation of Bangladesh that India aided. And amongst us, I am honored and privileged to welcome three war heroes as our panelists who would enlighten us and bring that piece of history back, apart from looking ahead. Let me begin with General Shankar Rao Chaudhary, familiar face to India, a member of parliament, but most importantly, former Chief of Army Staff between 1994 and 1997. During the war, he was an armored corps officer who was seconded to the Mukti Bahini forces that were fighting in the East Pakistan Army in 1971. He was a brigade major of Charlie sector in West Bengal that supervised their training, equipping them and launching the Mukti Bahini guerrillas into East Pakistan that later took part in the liberation of Bangladesh. So let's give him a warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Then we have Lieutenant Colonel Sajjad Zahir. He has a fascinating bio. He was a Pakistani officer who crossed over into Indian territory in Punjab in 1971, carrying with him maps and vital information which helped the Indian forces in their fight against the Pakistan army in the western sector. He later fought with the Mukti Bahini artillery unit in Sylhet. He has written 54 books and was awarded the Swadhinta Padak, I hope I've got that pronunciation right, the Independence Award, the highest civilian award in Bangladesh in 2013. And he has worked towards reuniting the families of India and Bangladeshi soldiers and giving them recognition. And this year, ladies and gentlemen, he was awarded the Padma Shri by the Indian government. Let's give him a warm round of applause. We also have Colonel Ashok Kumar Tara, Veer Chakra, Friend of Bangladesh Award. Colonel Tara, again, I mean, this is a tremendous history that he has brought to us. He entered Dhaka during the liberation of Bangladesh, walked into Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's home, where his family was being held hostage by Pakistani soldiers, and brought his family out to safety. And among them, among the captives he freed is Sheikh Hasina, who is currently the Prime Minister of Bangladesh. So, when he retired in 1994, let's give him a warm round of applause for that as well. I'm going to begin this session by talking to General Chaudhary. General Chaudhary? Oh, yeah. Beginning the session with you. Why do you think the 1971 war conflict was in many ways different from all the conflicts we have fought in the 20th century? And what were the big lessons we learned from it? Sir, you'll have to use your mic, sir. If you can, it's right next to you. Here. No, that's for him. Oh, sorry. No worries. Please hold it close to your mouth, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, the biggest feature of the 1971 war was that it was a war where we defeated Pakistan totally and we won a complete victory. It's a rare event on a battlefield in modern times. A clear-cut victory and a clear-cut defeat. The 1971 war in Bangladesh, as fought by the Indian Army and their allies, the friendly forces of the Mukti Bahini, was a brilliant example of improvisation, of tactical improvisation. But the result was a feature which is not generally found in warfare nowadays, a clear-cut victory. And that it was something to be remembered.
General Chaudhary, if I can ask you at this moment, you had trained the Mukti Bahini. Yes. Do you see, given the fact that, in some senses, that, is there any parallel we can look at now in terms of training a guerrilla army that, India has done? And what is the relevance of that?
There are plenty of occasions when we can still do that. We've got the expertise, we've got the knowledge. But I would rather not look too far forward into the future. There are plenty of vulnerable areas.
Like?
Well, Balochistan for one.
You would actually think we should train a guerrilla army to go into Balochistan?
Wherever you have a friendly people, I think you should support them. The Bengalis in 1971 were a friendly population wanting to move out of the Pakistani domination. And what one reads, what one hears, what one sees, I think Balochistan is a logical area.
You're not talking about Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, are you? Or any other places?
That can follow later, but the obvious place we can go to is Balochistan.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to come back to you. Let me get our next guest into this. Let's talk to Colonel Ashok Kumar Tara. And sir, I just want you, sir, your mic, please. You had liberated the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's family at that point, including Sheikh Hasina. Can you just tell us that moment that you went there and how was, how were you greeted there? What was that, the entire incident that? Sir, hold your mic close to the mouth, sir. Thank you.
This is, I think, most sensational point of the war. It was 17th December, 16th Pakistani already surrendered. But poor communication, everybody didn't know about it. When I was securing the Dhaka airport, the one Mukti Bahini Yoda, Haji Ghulam, if I'm not wrong, he came and told my CEO that the family of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman is under arrest, under the captivity of the Pakistani soldiers. And any time they could be eliminated. But as the Pakistani already surrendered, everybody took it very easy. And my commanding officer called me and said, you go with him and sort out his problem. I also did not take so seriously. I took 2 Jawans, move up. When we are just about 100 yards away from the house, there was a big crowd and they stopped us and told us that if you go, they fire at you. And they showed me a car, bullet-ridden car with a dead body, most probably the media person. Now, I thought for some time, and as usual, if I asked my seniors, excuse me, sir, they'll ask me 101 questions. And even then they agree. By the time the troops will come, it will be a hell of a time, and time was the prime. And I had only 2 persons with me, and I could not attack. And most important was to save the life of the people inside the house. Then I'm an old para commando of Indian Army. With that instinct, I decided to sort out psychologically. I handed over my weapon to my 2 Jawans and told them not to follow me. And I went alone. First I stopped near a car. I asked, is there anybody? No response. Once again I repeated, no response. And I moved slowly. When I was just 4 to 5 yards away from the gate, they challenged me. and told me to stop. The moment they opened, they spoke in Punjabi, and being a Punjabi, I could understand the whole conversation was in Punjabi. They abused me, their own language, but I kept calm. Again, they told me and warned me that if you come ahead, we'll fire at you. And the commander on the roof also ordered his Jawan to load the weapon. They loaded the weapon. They thought there might be something which I would try to get away. But I stayed there calmly and told them again and again that you surrender. And they kept on abusing me and threatening me. Even they fired one round on the public which was on the rooftop looking at the action. But I kept quiet, calm, and looked at them. And slowly reached the gate. And I told them that if you don't surrender, the Pakistani army has already surrendered. Indian army or Muktiwani Yodha will come and kill you. And you will not be able to reach home and see the children. And when I was talking this thing, and it went for about 20-25 minutes, I'll take only to the points, that the rifle, the bayonet of the rifle of the sentry was touching my body. And he was shivering because he never saw an army officer so close to him. But I knew any deliberate action on my part could bring the devastation. I slowly, without any much action, pushed up the rifle away from me. And those were mellowed down, but they told me that they wanted to talk to the senior officer.
Where was the, sorry Colonel, where was the family of Mujibur Rahman there?
No, Mr. Rahman in that house. Unfortunately, I got a photo I want to show, but no. That house was a bunker, because giving very short this thing. The bunker on the top, bunker at the gate, one bunker behind it. And the man holding the bunker at the gate, his rifle, the bayonet was touching my body. And when they said that they wanted to talk to the officers, there was a shout from inside, they are brutes. Don't listen to them. They would do anything wrong. And this was my apprehension. I told them, the officers have surrendered. Therefore, you also surrender. Any delay on your part will kill you. And if the Muktiwani comes and kill you, you don't know what will happen to your dead body and maybe in some gutter. And where the people at the home, they're waiting for you, is best chance for you to get away. And your senior will not help you except me. They cooled down, they wanted, I could make out. Without wasting much time, I said, I am Indian Army officer, promise you that if you surrender, I will take you to headquarters, and from there you can go back to Pakistan and meet your family. I know the weapon are loaded. So therefore I told them to leave the weapon and come down. Somehow they managed, they came down. Immediately I opened the door of the house. The first lady who came out of the house was Mrs. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. She embraced me and told that you are my son. God has sent you to save us.
And where was Sheikh Hasina, sir?
And with her were the present Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, her younger sister Rehana, younger brother Rahul, and one more person who was related to them. And they all of them came out, and media also
have you, sir, have you met her after that? Recently, have you met Sheikh Hasina after that?
Then after that, I was permitted to go home and all that. When my battalion moved out, in fact, Mrs. Sheikh gave me a wristwatch as a token of love.
Excellent.
And when my battalion moved out to Vizo Hill back, I was told to stay there because Sheikh Mujibur Rahman wanted to meet me. He knew that I saved his family. I stayed there. He came on 10th January 1972. And on 12th January 72, he called me, invited me, and conveyed his gratitude for saving his family. But I like to say something, one very important, that when he was talking to me, we having a cup of tea together, I could make out the pain in his heart, in his words. And what that was, which he conveyed indirectly, not openly, that how to heal the wound of the people who suffered the atrocities and get them back their dignity, their pride, and their culture improve the economy. This was his feeling that particular time.
Thank you, Colonel. We are running out of time.
I take 1 minute more, 1 minute
Sir,
more.
sir,
one
we are
minute.
I'll come back to you, sir. Let's just give our guest from Bangladesh some time. You are recipient of two prestigious awards, one from Bangladesh and one from India, the Padma Shri. But you also carry a death sentence that the Pakistani has pronounced from you from 1971, and apparently it's still not withdrawn. What's the reason?
Well, sir, I have received a number of awards, as you said. In the Liberation War, I was awarded a Veer Chakra, which is, of course, we call it Veer Pratik. I felt very happy. And I felt very happy when I was given our Shadinata Padak equivalent of Bharat Ratna. I felt very happy. But the Pakistanis also gave me a very big awarded death sentence, which generally we don't get. And I'm still happy that they haven't withdrawn it. That's the only and the biggest example of my patriotism, actually. And actually, they have a reason. Because in the Battle of Shakargarh, whose plan I brought, Indian army penetrated 66 miles inside Pakistan, crushing through their defenses. And in the command post, I have come later on, they are screaming that AROP, Sajjad is sitting in the AROP and directing fire. I was not there. So, and that's the reason they also burnt our houses, killed some of my relatives. My father, my mother, and my sisters had to run away to India. My mother became very sick in the refugee camp and later on didn't survive. So there is a tragedy behind every comedy also. But then Indians helped us so much in 71 war. And I could at least help the Indian soldiers in the Western Front. And that's my pride, my privilege, and my submission that we could pay a little bit for them, although my family suffered so much. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted one thing. I mean, this must have been the most difficult decision because you would have been called as a traitor in your own country, which was Pakistan at that time. That must have been one of the bravest decisions to move out and actually come with these plans. What prompted you to do that?
The tragedy of Hamlet, actually. To be or not to be, to do or not to do. I am very well-trained officer, Pakistan's elite 14 para brigade. I know their tactics very well. I know how to fight as a commando. And I am sitting in Pakistan and my people are being slaughtered. What the hell life is all about? You have to fight for your country. And a soldier is never scared. And I took the decision alone. But I was 3 people inside me, myself, and I. So I took all decisions by myself. But before that, I indirectly talked to a number of Bengali officers, but they said, you have a 5% chance of escaping. You are being watched. You will be caught and shot. And I said, I'm smarter than them. And 71 war has also proved that I'm smarter than them. So that's all right.
And finally, sir, from you, because we are running out of time, but I'll give a little more time to both of them, is India and Bangladesh. You know, our relations have been up and down, soured at very many times. What needs to be done now, you feel?
Sir, I am very happy that our generation recognizes each other. We feel for each other. The blood of the Indian soldiers are still flowing and will flow through Padma, Meghna, Jamuna, and Tista for eternity. And that legacy has to be kept. I am little sorry to report to you, our new generation and your new generation do not recognize 71 in the way we do. That is the biggest victory we had. That's a victory of humanity, victory of suffering community. And 1,602 soldiers were martyred inside Bangladesh. More than 12,000 wounded. Now we are honoring every Indian martyred soldier, and I am very pleased to tell you that Honorable Sheikh Hasina has given me the responsibility of doing that work, and by the end of this year, we'll finish the job, so that our people remain grateful. An honorable country is a country which is grateful, and we must remain grateful. And the new generation of Indians should get closer, and we should have more communication. It was not an ordinary war. It was a people's war. And in the people's war, leadership was given by your officers like General Shankar Rai Chaudhuri. At that time, he was a young major, but still he looks very young. Isn't that? Yeah. So, the legacy of blood should carry forward. It's not for only talking. The spirit should talk.
Right.
The spirit should be taken up, and the torch should be now carried by the young generation, so that the legacy of blood goes from generation to generation, and that will become and make our countries more friendly, more prosperous, like in 71. Together we fought in 71. Together we'll prosper in the centuries to come. That's what I personally feel.
Thank you. I think we have virtually run out of time. General, one big lesson that you would like to say, looking at contemporary, what did 1971 teach us? Sir, your mic, sir.
Yes, sorry. 1971 is permanently celebrated in the Indian Army in the form of Vijay Divas. Vijay Divas, Victory Day, that was the biggest victory the Indian Army has had post-independence, a clear-cut victory in a modern war.
And the lesson from that big war?
The lesson from that big war is you have to keep all your options open. You must be wary of your opponents. You must be prepared for them. But at the same time, you see what are the options open to you and ensure supremacy, moral, material, as well as ideological. That is the way to go, and that is what we must now focus on, because we must see that our armed forces, they develop. At the same time, we must see that our armed forces are vigilant, and there's a very old saying, if you want peace, it's a contradictory saying, but true. If you want peace, be prepared for war.
Excellent, excellent. Final words, Colonel Thara, to you. The big lesson that you've learned from that, or we should be learning from that. What's the one big lesson? I'm afraid the bell is going, but you have half a minute.
Though it is a very difficult to convey the thing, but I don't want to get involved on this thing. I just say my own views. First of all, whatever the war went, we should not forget the Bangla Tigers. Every venue was Bangla Tiger. And they proved it as Mukti Wahini MC, how they stood with us without weapon, with weapon, all information, all intelligence. I give a lot of credit to Bangla Tigers, every person of Bangla Tiger. Now, the other question comes, this is this thing, that's why I want to talk to you this, the leader, what pain they have for their country and for the people, and the Bangladesh Prime Honorary Minister, when they came to Delhi, and she told Modi ji that about this whole action and how he saved the family, and my hat off to Modi ji. Then the public, with the foreign minister and all leads are there, he told the whole story, and he told that how he saved the family. That is the gratitude from both sides.
Right.
Hasina, that she has not forgotten how he was saved by Indian Army, and Modi ji also thanked her for the same thing, to maintain the relation, with a good brotherhood relation, which we need today for both countries, like other brother and younger brother. That is the relation we have.
Beautifully put, Colonel, and thank you very much. This is a big message. Let us not forget that important, significant war, the lives lost, the victories that we won. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and let's give them a very warm round of applause for this. Thank you.